Lesson 2.3, Dividing Mixed Numbers. In this lesson, you will learn how to divide mixed numbers. Key idea, dividing mixed numbers. Write each mixed number as an improper fraction, then divide as you would with proper fractions. Example 1, dividing a mixed number by a fraction. Find 2 1/4 divided by 3/8. My first step would be to make the 2 1/4 into an improper fraction. I do that by multiplying the denominator by the whole number and adding the numerator to that. 4 times 2 is 8, plus 1 is 9. 2 1/4, written as an improper fraction, would be 9/4. Divided by 3/8 is the rest of my problem now. And I can go back to solving just as I did with proper fractions in the keep it, change it, flip it, keep it, change it, flip it process, keeping the 9/4, changing the division to a multiplication, and flipping the 3/8 to its reciprocal 8/3. The next step before I go ahead and multiply my numerators and denominators would be to divide out any common factors. I see I have a 3 here and a 9 here. Those both have factors of 3. 3 divided by 3 is 1, and 9 divided by 3 is 3. And I have a 4 in this denominator and an 8 here. Both have factors of 4. 4 divided by 4 is 1, and 8 divided by 4 is 2. Now when I go ahead and multiply my numerators, I have 3 times 2 is 6, and 1 times 1 is 1. Anything over 1 is just that whole number, so 6 over 1 is the same as 6. 2 1/4 divided by 3/8 is 6. Example 2, dividing mixed numbers. Find 3 5/6 divided by 1 2/3. Following that same process again, I first need to make my mixed numbers into improper fractions. I do that by multiplying the denominator by the whole number and adding the numerator. 6 times 3 is 18, plus 5 would be 23. 23/6 divided by 3 times 1 is 3, plus 2 is 5, 5/3. I'm ready now with improper fractions to do my keep it, change it, flip it. Keep the 23/6, change the division to multiplication, flip the 5/3 into 3/5, that would be the reciprocal. My next step is to look for any common factors. I see a 3 here and a 6 here. Those both have factors of 3 in them. 3 divided by 3 is 1. 6 divided by 3 is 2. 5 and 23 do not have any common factors, so I'm going to go ahead and multiply my numerators now. 23 times 1 is 23, and 2 times 5 is 10. I should change that now back into a mixed number instead of leaving my answer as an improper fraction. So how many groups of 10 are there in 23? There are 2 groups of 10 in 23. That would be 20, leaving me with 3 left over. 2 3/10 would be my answer. 3 5/6 divided by 1 2/3 is 2 3/10. Example 3, using order of operations. Evaluate 5 1/4 divided by 1 1/8 minus 2/3. Going back now to our please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. That tells me the order of operations. I don't see any parentheses or exponents. I don't see any multiplication, but I do see division right here. So this is the first step in this process. Since I have mixed numbers, I need to change those into improper fractions. 5 times 4 is 20, plus 1 would be 21/4. 8 times 1 is 8, plus 1 would be 9. 9/8. So my problem looks like this now. I still have this division part to do first. So I'm going to do the keep it, change it, flip it. 21/4 is my keep it. change the multiplication, or the division to a multiplication, and flip the 9/8 to its reciprocal 8/9. My problem now looks like this. I have multiplication here now, and in doing multiplication I first want to take out any common factors. I see a 4 here and an 8 here. Those both have factors of 4, so 4 divided by 4 is 1, and 8 divided by 4 is 2. I also see a 9 and a 21, which both have factors of 3. So I'll take a factor of 3 out of 9, which would leave me with 3, and a 3 out of 21, which would leave me with 7. Now I can multiply this fraction, these two fractions. 7 times 2 is 14, and 1 times 3 is 3. So I have 14/3 minus 2/3. That worked out nicely because I have common denominators, so I can do that subtraction. And that would leave me with 12/3. Again, that's an improper fraction, so I'd like to make that into a whole number or mixed number, and in this case it is a whole number because 12/3 is exactly the same as 4. There are 4 groups of 3 and 12. So this whole problem comes down to the solution that 5 1/4 divided by 1 1/8 minus 2/3 equals 4. Example 4, real life application. 1 serving of tortilla soup is 1 2/3 cups. A restaurant cook makes 50 cups of soup. Is there enough to serve 35 people? Explain. What I really need to answer is if I have 50 cups of soup and I divide those into 1 2/3 cup servings, would I have at least 35 servings? My problem would look like this then, 50 divided by 1 2/3. And I want to know if that solution to that problem is 35 or greater. In order to do that, the first step is to make my numbers into improper fractions. To do that, the 50 becomes 50 over 1. And the 1 2/3, 3 times 1 is 3, plus 2 is 5. So it becomes 50 over 1 divided by 5 over 3, or 5/3. I'm to the keep it, change it, flip it process now. Keep the 50 over 1. Change the division to multiplication, and flip the 5/3 to 3/5, which would be the reciprocal. My next step is to look for any common factors. I see a 5 and a 50. They both have a factor of 5, so 5 divided by 5 is 1. 50 divided by 5 is 10. 10 times 3 is 30, and 1 times 1 is 1. That can be simplified to 30. Since 50 divided by 1 2/3 would only give me 30 servings, I cannot serve 35 people.